requested the team yesterday to get an expert. You would remember that I had put a business case that stated that 8% of the bridges in the city of Johannesburg are in an excellent condition. And obviously what transpired here would have affected the bridge itself or the structural integrity of the bridge. But from this morning, I was on site with the expert, and he is putting together a report, a scientific report that will then give us details of what has happened. But what we all agreed, based on his recommendation, was to close off the left lane, the far left lane, as you on-ramp from Smith onto M1. That left lane will be closed until the necessary detailed inspection is done, so that we do not allow heavy traffic to be on that particular left lane. So for now, it is a risk, and it has been closed. It will be closed for quite some time until such time that we know exactly what needs to be done. City Power has been on site. EMS was on site from Tuesday night, Wednesday, and they have cleared the fire. They have cleared all the smoke underground. But obviously, the power station of City Power is in Braamfontein, so they need to make sure that the gas or any smoke that goes to the power station is also cleared. There hasn't been electricity in Braamfontein and some areas. However, City Power is responding to that, as power has been restored in some areas, Wits University and so on and so on, but the inner areas of Braamfontein are still without power. But there are some damages that have been done to the wall, but also to the bridge itself. Mm-hmm. We also, yes, so the expert is going to put together a scientific report that will give us. But I must mention that we have also identified that due to lack of maintenance and rehabilitation of the bridge itself, certain things have been affected adversely when they couldn't have, if there was that response to my request to get funding to rehabilitate the bridges.
Mm-hmm. What is the status of that request? Because you had requested funding, I believe, last year in March. What has happened? What has come of that?
The Premier, the MEC, the President of the country, the Minister of Public Works, none of them have responded to my request, which means they don't really care whether bridges collapse or not. And I'm seeing that the disaster at this bridge is being treated as very trivial. It is not. And I'll give you one example why I say it is not. One of the employees of JRA, as they were doing inspection on that 500 meters distance, they then went to the site of Prasa, where you see all the trains parked behind the Bridge Street taxi rank. And they found that some of the panels that are covering the bridge at the top have fallen on things. And we went there and we saw those panels. So what the engineers did back then, they put in some panels, but they then put additional panels to them, sort of they glued them to them. So when the fire happened, I think the glue, in fact, the experts agree that the glue must have been affected by the fire and the panels fell. So they fell on that side where the old trains are parked.
My goodness.
We had about 5 sites, 5 panels that fell. We lifted them, and those panels are heavy. We then went back to Smith Street, because Smith Street is directly under the bridge, and that is where part of the fire happened. We also saw that there's aluminium that was bent, and aluminium will be you can see it on the floor, on the ground.
MMC, this is honestly quite concerning, but sorry for interjecting there. But you've been quoted as saying that the M1 is among a list of bridges in the city that are considered to not be structurally sound. Are you perhaps in a position to share the details of the other bridges?
There's several bridges, but can we conclude this one, because this is an important point. The melted aluminium, the expert said aluminium will melt at 600 degrees. That is 6 times the heat of boiling a kettle. A kettle boils at 100 degrees. Now we went back to Smith Street, and because the engineers, the experts were worried, HOD of GRA, they were worried that if this has happened there by Prasa, it could happen at Smith Street. But then the engineers went to check, the expert went to check, they are putting together a report. But where we are now, I think it would be best to close off Smith Street until a strong net has been put, but that is my own opinion. The experts have promised that by tomorrow or Sunday they would have finalized a detailed report, so that by Monday I get that report and I send it to the mayor. But I can assure the residents that City Power is already at work. EMS is also on standby. But citizens of Johannesburg must understand, this was not just an accident. This is as a result of these thieves, these criminals who are stealing cables. And I was informed, we were briefed with the mayor as he came on site also, that the evidence that was found when you off-ramp on car where there are cardboard shacks is an evidence of some cable that has been cut off from there. But it's also the security that was deployed there ended up in a gunfight with these criminals.
Yes.
So we need to not just talk, but we need to deal with this issue of copper cables, of electrical cables being stolen. We need to hunt these scrapyards. We need to hunt these people who are buying scrap metals from these criminals, because they are the ones that are making business to be viable for these criminals.